All right, well, I reckon that probably brings us through to the segment tonight, which is the business owners smashing online topic of the evening, which is tonight's topic is all about some of the 12 essential tools that you need, or every business needs to succeed outrageously. Presenter is yours truly. It is me. And these here, I'm going to run through some of the strategies and tools that I use that have really sort of helped me to grow my business online. So first of all, I'm going to address one issue that came up here in our initial chat, and that was about just not being techie. It wasn't the words that we used, but just not being techie at all to use those online tools. Well, the good thing is that you don't actually need to be particularly techie at all. It is really a process, and particularly these days with all of the AI tools that are available and some of the online tools that are available, a lot of them are very much, push the button, follow the prompts, and you'll be able to use them. So you don't actually need a lot of tech nous around it to be able to use them. Some of them you do, particularly if you're running running ads on the ad platforms, building websites and the likes, but some of them you don't. Now, I generally talk about online tools that are things that you can buy or use for free online. I'm going to do something a wee bit different tonight and really sort of talk about some of the tools and strategies that I use that are absolutely critical to business, but they don't require a lot of tech skill. Yes, they require a bit of learning, but not a lot of tech skill for tonight. All right, let me find my presentation. There we go. For those that maybe are new to me and don't know me, I've been in the tech world for probably about, dare I admit it, it's over 30 years. I'll just give you that. It's been over 30 years. And I started out really looking to automate systems and processes as a youth worker. I started back as a youth worker. That's when I got my first laptop in 1990. Would you believe that was last century? And then really sort of automating a mortgage broking business before I ended up in web development and online marketing for other businesses. So the things I'm going to teach you tonight are things that have really come through from that era there, and we now have a whole lot of tools that are able to automate things, make things faster, quicker, and easier than ever before. One of the great things about AI these days is that it's not that it's replacing what you do, but it makes it a lot quicker and faster. So one of the things I would say is, has anyone tried, let's just have a show of hands here. Anyone tried using, say, something like ChatGPT or those text-based tools and tried to create content with it? Just give us a show of hands if you've tried to create content. Okay, so leave your hand up. Just leave your hand up. And if the content was great content, leave your hand up. If it was poor content, put your hand down. Okay. So yes, it can do sort of things like create content. If you're making great content with it, there are a couple of things that you're probably doing right. One is you've got a great prompt. Two is you've probably got some great parameters around the content. So one of the things that I've found with creating content with AI is that often the language that is used is not the language that you would speak. Anyone found that? So it's got some funny words in it. It's got words in it, maybe a little Americanized words in it that you wouldn't use in everyday language. And if you spoke like that, people would just think you're a bit weird. So that's one of the things about creating content. So I don't think AI tools are great for writing your content, but I do think AI tools are great for doing things with your content. So I'll give you an example. I've got a ton of videos up on YouTube. Ostensibly, these shows here end up on YouTube. Great thing about YouTube is that it produces a transcript. So when you create a video and upload a video, it produces a transcript there. Now it's not in the most readable format. So let's actually, why don't we just head along to YouTube now, and I'll show you exactly what we're looking at. Just share my screen here. Let's go through to my YouTube channel. Depending on how fast we are on the internet. Here we go. And I might just open ChatGPT just to show you how this can really work. And so you can use this. And this is why I would always recommend that if you're creating content, start with video. So don't start with text, start with video, talk with video. Even if you don't publish the video, it's going to give you much, much better content for your blog posts and for your social media, because it's going to sound like you. So start with video. All right, let me grab, let's say this one here. This is our core online tools from last week. So if we open up the video here, and underneath, if we click a roundup of 5 online tools. All right, we don't want to actually hear me. Okay, let's click underneath it in the description area. There is this section here called transcript. So if you haven't seen that before, and pretty much all videos have that on YouTube, it automatically does it. There's a button here that says show transcript. So if you click that button, the transcript then shows up on the right-hand side of the video. So you can see it generating on the right-hand side. It'll just take a moment. And here is our transcript. So it's not in a particularly helpful format there. What it does do is when you play the video, the transcript will scroll up and just keep up with what you're saying. Now, the transcript doesn't do things like get rid of the ums and the ahs that you're saying, and some of those filler words, but so it is a very raw transcript. It's not punctuated at all. And in fact, you'll even notice that there are no capital letters in it. Everything is in lowercase. So it's a very raw transcript. To download the transcript, well, you can't. They don't give you that option. So in order to grab the transcript, you've just got to highlight it and scroll all the way down to the bottom. And we're getting there. Must have been quite a long video. Okay. And once you've got it, then you can just copy the transcript. I'm going to right click on it and click copy. All right. So here's what we can do with this now. So we've got the video there. We can go over to ChatGPT. And this is why I really like starting with video, because it allows you to do this, and it's so much quicker than writing, text-based blog posts. All right, so there we go. There's the interface of ChatGPT. Now I'm just using this one here. This particular one. It's just the free version. It's not the paid version. It's ChatGPT 3.5. The paid version is $20 odd. And it is a bit more current. It's got the newer GPT engine. All right, so what we're going to do down the bottom here, we're going to paste in. Oh, actually, before I paste it in, I'm going to say remove timestamps from this transcript, from this video transcript. Remove ums and ahs, and create a blog article, and create a blog article. Okay, and you can manipulate that prompt. I've just sort of type this one out. Just off the top of my head, I've got a slightly longer one for that to refine it, but that should be good enough. Then we paste in the transcript and then click the arrow to generate it. Now what ChatGPT is going to do is it's now going to take that transcript and it'll rewrite it as a blog article. So there we go. And it does a pretty good job. So what it's doing is taking the content that's already there, and it's not putting in those funny words and those flowery words. It's using the content that you've already got, and it's turning it into an article. So there we have an article based on that transcript. So if you think about writing a blog post, so that's a reasonably short article there. So let's say that's just a bit too short. You can then go and say, rewrite article to, say, 600 words. And it'll go through and it'll create a longer article so that it's a reasonable length blog post article. So you can see what it's doing now is it's now adding some headings into it as well too. And if you wanted to add sort of so it's just put numerical points in. You can also say add subheadings to make it easier to read, and click generate again. Okay, so now it's rewriting that article there with subheadings and a paragraph. And it does a pretty good job. So, if we read some of that, in today's digital landscape, utilizing online tools effectively can make a significant impact on your marketing efforts. Let's dive into a roundup of 5 powerful online tools that can help you enhance your digital presence and drive results. So that sounds pretty good, doesn't it? So there's nothing unusual about that. In fact, it probably sounds close to how I would speak. So there we go. We've got an article created in, how long will that take? A couple of minutes. So we've got the video, you grab the transcript off YouTube, popped into ChatGPT. We just run through 3 prompts there to find it. And, it took sort of no more than 5 minutes. Great thing about this now is that you've got a blog post article. Not only that, for this particular one, we now have, what have we got? 5. We've got 5 social media posts as well too. So each one of these, so there's number 1, Kickoff Labs to revolutionize your referral programs. That was an app and tool that I talked about last week. That's one blog post. And in fact, the video that we took it from, we can cut that video up into a small snippet there that relates to that and put the video up into social media as well. So there's a social media post. So we've got a blog post and we've got 5 social media posts. You've also got 5 emails as well. So if you were wanting to create a newsletter or sort of have a autoresponder sequence, then you've got some emails here that you can create out of this as well too. So there we've got, what do we start with video? So if we use that for YouTube, you can strip out the audio and you can upload that to the likes of iTunes. So create a podcast out of it. We've got a blog article we've created. We've created 5 social media posts, and we've also got 5 emails there. And you could also then ask it to turn this into a checklist lead magnet. So you turn it into a lead magnet checklist, and so you can create a lead magnet from as well. So there's 6 different things from that one video that you've made. So that's a fairly sort of reasonable social media. And then you can grab that checklist, take it over to Canva, and then create a lead magnet out of it as well. And there are tools out there that will actually do all the design for you without you having to worry about designing it all up. So how easy is that?
Nik,
Yes.
Nik, does it have to be on YouTube, or can you just run, like freewheel a video and somehow get the track off that? Does it have to be on?
The only reason I'd had it on YouTube was because YouTube just does those transcripts. So it was just an easy way to get transcripts. You could use that one of those tools that I talked about tonight. What was it? That one of those WOW tools that's got the video transcripts in it. You could feed it into there, get the transcript from it, and then grab that transcript and do exactly the same thing.
Right. Thank you very much.
So that it was really just an illustration of, don't use ChatGPT to write your content. Use it to edit your content. So create the content yourself, and then use the tools there to then manipulate the content into different forms and different formats. All right. Any questions about that? Who thinks they can do that? Yep. So really easy. Doesn't need a lot of tech skill to do it. It's reasonably great. So your real mission is going to be creating those videos. So you can just record those videos on your phone. I think if you're going to do the video, you're probably better off to just record the videos. Just do it straight to Facebook as a Facebook Live. If they're no good, don't worry about it. People are going to skip over them anyway, and they're never going to remember it. If they are really good, they'll get some engagement, and you'll get some social media love with that as well. And then when you do record it as, say, Facebook Live, you can download it from Facebook, or you can save it to your phone before it fully uploads to Facebook as well. Run it through your transcription program, and then run through the same process. And if you're stuck for ideas of so the next thing is going to be, well, what do I talk about on video? So if you're stuck for ideas on that, let's come back to here. Then you can always jump back into ChatGPT. Let's just let's create a new chat. And let's say, what have we got there? So give me some ideas on what to talk about on a number of Facebook Lives about coaching for people over 60. There we go. So we're going to ask for that. So then you're going to ask me, give me 10 topics I can talk about. All right, so it's coming up with 10 ideas for Facebook Live topics for coaching for people over 60. So, setting goals for a fulfilling retirement, staying healthy and active, navigating life transitions, financial planning for retirement, building strong relationships, embracing technology. How interesting is that for over 60s? So some topics there that are highly topical. So let's say we take this particular one here, embracing technology, and say, give me 5 things I can talk about on a Facebook Live on the topic above. So you notice that I'm using fairly natural language. There's no particular prompt engineering here. I'm speaking as I normally would speak, having a conversation with someone. So you don't need to be, have a degree in prompt engineering to do it. So here we go. Here's 5 ideas on this here. So we've got social media. So social media for connection. So this is on the embracing technology section. So under that, we can talk about social media for connection, online learning and information, smartphone and tablet tips, digital safety and security, tech tools for health and well-being. Are all those relevant for that sort of age bracket if you're coaching? Absolutely. So and it gives you some ideas there. So like social media for connection, discuss how the platforms like Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter can help people stay connected with friends and family for a broader community, offer tips on setting up profiles, privacy settings, and engaging with others online. So you get some ideas about what you can talk about there. So what I do with that there is I would go the old-fashioned route, and I would use an old tech tool called Post-it notes. Jot those 5 ideas onto a Post-it note, stick it on the bottom of my phone, fire up the Facebook Live, just talk to that. So you don't need a script written out or anything like that. You just need those 5 topics and just talk to it. And you'll find that you'll be able to talk for anywhere between 5 to 10 to about 20 minutes on that. If you're me, you probably talk for an hour. If you are sort of not quite so talkative, then you might talk for 5 or 10 minutes. But that's enough there to give you enough content to be able to then go through the process of transcribing it and creating an article out of it for social media. All right, so where are we now? How long has that taken us? Probably probably about 10 minutes or so maximum to do all that. You've got your ideas, you do your Facebook Live, you've got your video there, transcribe it, and then you put into ChatGPT and then create those articles, social media posts. You know, you've got all of that happening in a short space of time. How long would that have taken you if you were to write it all out in person? And that's often the problem that people have creating content, is the time factor. So here, no time at all. Start with video, nice and easy. All right, any questions about that at all? Or who thinks that that's something that they could do tonight or tomorrow? Give us a show of hands if you could do that tonight or tomorrow. Yep, perfect. So, by the way, raising your hand was a commitment. So we'll be looking for those posts that you've made. All right, so that was just a wee bit of a tangent, but I think a helpful tangent all the same. All right, let's come back to presentation. Where were we? Okay. So we just talked about creating content. That was one of the strategies, sort of using some of those tools to create content. The number one thing is you need to have a unique offer for your business. So for most of us, what we offer is pretty much the same as what our competitors offer. So, you know, if you're a life coach, you're pretty much doing what all other life coaches are doing. If you are selling insurance, you're pretty much selling the same products that everybody else is selling. If you are selling pet products, you're selling the same things that everyone else is selling. So the actual product or service you offer is not unique. What is unique about it is what you bring to it. So think about, if you think about your website must have on it some form of, not that you're selling anything, necessarily selling anything, but your offer is to engage people to take the conversation further with you. So how can you craft up something that really brings in your unique talent, skills, processes, system, that people can see that it's distinct from what everybody else does? Now, I've heard some of it today. I think I'm going to pick on Ron because I keep on hearing his stuff all the time. He deals with people sort of over 60s in that third, what do you call it, Ron? The third half of your life? Well, it's not even a half, is it?
Your third act.
The third act.
Yeah.
So that's unique. I don't hear anyone else talking about third act. The other thing I hear about talking about too is
the epilogue.
The epilogue, yes. No, that's afterwards. So Paul.
Yeah, it's after the third act, isn't it?
Yeah. That's your domain. The other thing I hear you talking about, Ron, is, which piqued my attention, was rewiring as opposed to retiring. So that there is what's unique about what you offer as well. No one else talks about that, do they? So
No. Yeah.
So if you can grab hold of that and think about what's unique about what you do, that's where you sort of capture people's attention. So there's nothing techy about that at all, but it is sort of thinking about, you know, how did you come up with that, Ron?
Well, I actually came up with it quite a few years ago when I was actually first diagnosed with MS, because people asked me, are you now retiring? And I thought, no bloody way. What am I doing? I'm rewiring. I'm focusing on what I can do, not what I can't do.
Yeah. So that story, there's a great story as well. So no one else has that story. So that's another unique thing about that too. It's like, how did you come to this? You know, you're diagnosed with, what was it, MS, was it?
Yeah.
Yep. And so your journey through that becomes part of the story and what's unique. And what you've developed through that is obviously part of what you've written about and part of how you go about your teaching and coaching. Would that be right?
That's right. And by the way, there happens to be a book as well.
There we go. Rewire your life. There you go. Yep. So those stories that you've got about your life, use those, because that's how you create your unique offer. So unique offer is not what you sell, but it's about how you position yourself and what makes you different to everybody else. So there's a low-tech thing to do, but to get started with it, just think about, how did you come about creating your business? What was the impetus and behind it all? And then what was your experience and the stories that you can tell about, how you got to where you are today and what you do today. So I can tell you, for instance, that I got into web development because I was interested in it from running a mortgage broking business and having implemented some of the strategies in a mortgage broking business, and it worked. So when I came to Australia, I'd just come through the GFC, lost everything in New Zealand, everything that we built, and there was sort of a whole lot of banks that went under. So that's part of my story, is that, I lost everything. And so all of a sudden, and I remember I did some Facebook Lives on that, and there were a whole lot of people that said, oh, that's my story as well too. And that's what you really want with your story, is you want to be able to get other people to say, oh, that's my story as well too. So if you identify with people through your story, then that's how you win your clients. And then you use that as part of your marketing as well too. So, and often you'll find that there are people that have a common experience. And not only do they have a common experience, but they have a common feeling, so the emotional state. And that's what you're really looking to tap into. So stories are really big. So find your stories. People are interested in stories that touch them emotionally, as opposed to the facts about what you do. So let's say in mortgage broking, what's a fact there? That by using a redraw facility, you can pay your home off in less than 10 years as opposed to 25 years. That's a fact. Pretty uninteresting, pretty boring. It's like, yeah, that'd be good. So what? The emotional part of it is, can you imagine being mortgage free? What would you do with that money? Where would you travel to? What would you do with it? So now you're starting to invoke the emotional side of things. So that's what you want to try and sort of develop in your business as your unique offer. That's your uniqueness that makes you so different to everybody else. Okay, well, there you go. So thanks, Will. That's my brother's story as well when in New Zealand. So there you go. Already on the show here, we've got someone else that's been through the GFC like I had, that lost everything there. So you'll find your tribe that way. All right, so that's your unique offer. So that was the number one. Number two one is, all right, we're running a bit slow here, an email capture mechanism. So how many people have what's known as an email capture mechanism? So that's something like a lead magnet on your website. Yep, so a few of us do. So a lead magnet on your website. It could simply be a booking form. It could be a mini course, but something that gets people to give you their email address. It can be collecting business cards. If you go to networking events and collect business cards, that's an email capture as well. You just have to manually enter them into a system there to be able to email them. Now, why would you want some form of email capture mechanism? Well, for one, it's free to send emails. It costs us to advertise on social media. You can use tools like that AI advertising tool I talked about tonight, but it is going to cost you money. And sometimes it can cost you a lot of money for no results. Email is free. And so the process that I would encourage you to think about is that if you are running ads and you are driving traffic to your website, that you have one objective in mind, and that's to get people's email addresses. Why? You pay for their email address by driving to your website, but after that, when you email them, all of your correspondence there is free. Whole lot of things you can do with email, and that whole notion, has anyone ever heard that email marketing is dead? No one reads emails. Yep. So if you are a young person in their 20s, like my daughter, she barely reads emails. She barely responds to text messages. But she's a Snapchat user. So everything that happens in their world is on Snapchat and TikTok. So unless you're dealing with that generation there, then emails, people read emails. They hit their inbox, even if they don't read them. How many people, when they go through the inbox, they don't open the email. They look at the emails there and decide before they've even read it that they're going to delete it or open it. Who does that? Yep. So I do that. I delete lots of emails. So I probably get, what would I get? Probably over 500 emails a day. I'm never going to read them all. I highlight the all of them. I use a Google Workspace or Gmail. I click the top one. I hold the Shift key down on my computer, and then I click the checkbox of the bottom one. So that highlights them all. It checks them all. And then I go through and uncheck all of the ones that I want to read. But what I am doing in the process, I have to read who it's from and the subject line of all of them to decide which ones I'm going to keep and which ones I'm not. So even if I don't read them, if your name appears in people's inboxes and they don't read your email, that's okay. You just keep appearing in front of them, and there's that recognition. At the time they want to buy your services or they're interested in what you're doing, if you've kept on appearing there and asking who does this, then they're going to remember you. So you want to keep on appearing in people's inboxes regularly. So that's why you want an email address, and then we'll talk about what to do with that email address shortly. All right, so you need to have an email capture mechanism, and that is having something on your website and in your socials that encourage people to give you your email address. Very simplest thing is a lead magnet. What's a lead magnet? It can be something that is a checklist of what to do when you hit age 60, for instance. You might have a checklist about what you should do when you hit that age. Simple as that. All right, next thing I have is, that's our, there we go. I've hit the wrong share screen here. Let's try that one again. Okay. All right, next one is, that's number 2. Next one's third-party proof. So there are apps and tools that really help with that there. So what is third-party proof? Just drop into chat there what you think third-party proof is in your business. Just throw that into chat. What is third-party proof? Okay, there we go. So testimonials and reviews. So, and also add in their case studies of people that you've responded to. So awards, yes, that's another one as well too. So testimonials, reviews, case studies, and awards. They're all third-party proof. And the reason why that's important is that people are more likely to believe what someone else says about you than what you say about yourself. People have this tendency to embellish what they're good at and to minimize what they're not good at. But they will trust other people. In fact, people will trust total strangers, talking about you, than they will if they sort of trust you, even if they know you. So, how many people have gone on to say Google reviews? You've gone to check out a business and you just want to find out, what's their reputation like? Go to Google reviews and you have a look at their reviews. Anyone done that before? Yep. So that's a third-party platform that you can get people to leave reviews on. So you've also got LinkedIn recommendations, you've got Facebook reviews. So they're what we call third-party validation. Now, if you're not actively getting reviews in your business, then you should. I've got a lawyer. He's a criminal lawyer as a client, and he started off, I think, with less than 20 reviews, and he was spending a fairly reasonable sum of money on Google advertising. So we embarked upon a campaign of getting him to at least 200 reviews. I think he's got over 300 reviews now. Took him a year to get there. And what's happened is he's dropped his ad spend, because what happens is that people that are looking for a criminal lawyer, the services that he offers, generally it's an urgent situation, like they've been arrested or something's happened and they're going to appear in court in the next few days. So they need someone fairly quickly. So what do? They Google criminal lawyer. Who pops up? My client pops up along with a whole list of other lawyers that deal with criminal matters. So how do you distinguish between one lawyer and the other? The only real way to distinguish in a Google search is having a look at the Google reviews. He's got 300 odd reviews. The next sort of highest number of reviews that a criminal lawyer has is around about that 20 odd mark. So he's got 300. That one's got 20. if you're making a judgment on and you're going up before the courts and you want someone who's going to actually win, who do you go with? Someone with 20 reviews or someone with 300 reviews?
As long as 200 of them are not 1 star.
Well, that's right. Yes, yes, they are looking at the 5 stars, 4 or 5 stars too. Yes. So that's why you get reviews. The reason why his ad spend has dropped is that people are looking at the reviews now, making their decision. They're not looking at what the ad at the top of the screen. Does that make sense? So it will save you money by getting those reviews. You'll get more people choosing you, and it is third-party validation. So so people don't have time to go and ring up everybody in the first page of Google search. They just want to ring one, and they want to ring the best. So they're looking for the best, and that's how they judge the best. So if you don't have Google reviews, then I would suggest that that's something to put on your list to start doing. So there's a process to do it. You should ask everyone to give a review. Well, not if you think they're going to give you a negative review, but certainly ask everyone that you know that's going to give you a positive review. And what I always ask for is I ask for a 5-star review. Would you be willing to give me a 5-star review? Not a 3-star, not a 4-star. This is not a did well but could do better type of competition that's sort of like at school. It's not a school teacher marking you. It's like, can you give me a 5-star review? Most people will say yes. And so you want to get those 5-star reviews. If someone gives you a 4-star review, that's okay. But if you're asking for 5-star reviews, you're likely to get the review status up higher than you possibly would by people who are thinking could do better, but I really enjoyed dealing with you. All right, so that's third party. Oh, the other thing with third-party proof too is case studies with your clients. Listen to what your clients say, particularly if they if they're making comments. If you ask questions like, what's been the biggest impact for you, working with me? Listen to what they're saying, and ideally, if you can record it, that's great, because what comes out of their mouths, there are some real sort of gems of gold that come out of their mouths, and the words that they use are often the words that other people are using when they're searching for the sorts of things that you provide. So if you are using the same words that they are searching for, and you use that in your copy, you are more likely to get those people to contact you because they're already thinking that exact same phrase. So ask your clients, and then create stories around your clients. So now you can keep them anonymous if it's important to keep them anonymous, but craft a story around it. All right, so that's a third point of view. Awards, someone mentioned awards there. Terence mentioned awards there. Again, enter awards. It's really easy to do, and you don't need to win. So if you enter awards and you get nominated to be a finalist in awards, that's almost as good as winning. So, if you're like me, when I go and search for a bottle of wine down at the bottle shop, I might pretend that I know my wines, but I really don't. So how do I work out what a good wine is? I have a look and see how many of those gold stars that they've got on the wine bottles. If I see 5 of those and they're in gold, that's going to be a winner. Second best is silver, but gold I go for. And I did pick up a bottle of wine that had those 5 gold stars on it. And you know what it said inside those stars? I was expecting to see winner of some award. It wasn't. It just said, this is good wine. That was it. So they'd emulated a star, but it was just the look of it. That's why I chose it. So it's a bit like when you win awards and you get into as a finalist, then they often give you a badge that you can use on your website, your business card, on your socials, all that sort of thing. You can make a big deal of it. And so even though you haven't won, people still think that you are a credible business because they don't read that you weren't a winner, that you were just a finalist. They just see the award. So a bit like me buying wine. A quick tip here. Don't send me out to go and buy a bottle of wine for you because I'm probably going to come back with something that's really crap just because they've got that label on it. All right, that's number 3. Number 4 is, when we've talked about stories, tell compelling stories. So we've got a tendency to talk about facts and figures in what we do in business. tell stories. So learn how to be a storyteller. So, you remember being told stories as kids when you went to sleep, and you may have had kids that you've finished reading a story and they want you to tell another story and another story. So we're like that as adults as well. There's a reason why libraries are filled with storybooks, fiction storybooks. People love stories. So instead of just giving facts to people and crafting your web copy and your social media copy as just factual things, how can you craft a story around it? So think about if you were going to talk to a child about this and making it an enticing story that is interesting and draws them in, how would you do that? So there are lots of and you can probably use GPT to help you with that too. If you want to turn say something you want to talk about into a nursery rhyme, for instance, I probably wouldn't use a nursery rhyme in my business stories, but you get the picture. So you can start to get some ideas using a chat GPT, but tell stories. And the reason why stories work is that it turns on the dopamine in the brain. So when you tell stories, people start to feel emotions. So, anger, sadness, happiness, grief, all of those emotions there sort of get kicked off when you're telling stories, because they start to feel it. When you're talking facts and figures, that's the analytical side of the brain. When people are making purchases, do they buy on logic or do they buy on emotion? They buy on emotion. So people should buy because it feels good or it feels like the right thing to do. They'll justify it with logic, but emotional state, they're always buying an emotional state. Check yourself when you're in the shop next, or if you're with your partner, and see how excited they are about what they're buying. Just check their emotional state there. You might have a logical state going on and you don't want to buy it, but they certainly do. So just notice that. So create stories. Now I'm going to give you a framework for helping to craft that story. Oh, sorry, this one here, I'll come back to that. Copywriting, that's number 5. So copywriting is the art of being able to tell stories, but it's being able to tell stories with a structure and a certain sequence. Now, I'm going to give you this QR code, which you might like to scan now. I will also open that up and see if I can drop the link into chat as well too. That'll take you through to, I did mention it last week, and that was the 16-word sales letter. The process that this particular process goes through is a very, very good framework. So if you're not very good at writing, or you think you sit down with a blank page in front of you, what this particular method does, in fact, why don't I go through it now? Can I take it off the screen now? Anyone want it? Well, we can come back to it later on anyway, but what I'll do is let me take us through to, where are we? The site. I have got a link on this. Here we go. Let's open that up. And if there's nothing else you took from tonight, I think if you did this, this would make a massive impact in your business, particularly because it deals with your writing. All right, so here we go. So the process is really simple. So you're defining what we call one belief, and then you're going to answer 10 questions. So that there's going to form the content of your copy. So whether it's a web page, whether it's a sales page, whether you're doing something on social media, and this helps to tell the story. Now down the bottom here, you can see that there's a section here for the one belief. This is how you create that. I won't go through it all now, but if you read it and follow it through, you'll understand it. And there's an example there as well. And then here are the 10 questions as well. So all you do is answer the 10 questions. Down the very bottom this is the book that it came from. So it's a very easy read. It's not a long book. It's called the 16-word sales letter, and you can download it from here. So I suggest download it, read it. And as you read it, it's one of the ones that you can read and you can go through the process on the way through as you read it. Now, if you don't want to fill out the web form, or if it's taking a while, then there are some templates you can download. So it's PDF template, Word template, and Google Doc template. So you can download one of those templates and then work through it. So copywriting is probably the most important skill, I think, that you can learn when talking about your business. And it is the art of telling stories. And this particular one is about how you craft those stories together. Right, why don't I just grab that link there, and I shall pop it in chat so you've got it. All right, let's pop it in chat. There we go. All right, hopefully that's answered your question. Anu, the QR code is that link I've just dropped into chat there. All right. Okay, next one is, this is all part of the storytelling as well too. This is what's called the ABT formula. What is the ABT formula? I hear you asking. What is this? It is and, but, therefore. So this is a formula for helping to craft your stories as well. So these are quick stories. So, and I'm going to give you an example of how to use this. So let's say you were wanting to make a movie, and you're writing a movie about some young lad who meets an old professor who has a DeLorean which can travel back through time. So that's the story. Anyone know what that story is, by the way? I'm sure some of us do. So describing it like that, it doesn't really sound that compelling to watch. But if we do this here, where are we? Here we are. So here's an example here. So we're going to just use that ABT formula. So here's the story. A young man meets a crazy scientist and travels to the past in a time machine and meets his future parents. So that's really two concepts together. That's what the and is. So it's setting it up. But he accidentally distracts his mother from noticing and falling in love with his father. So that creates a bit of conflict or a situation there that's is an unresolvable or awkward concept. Therefore, he is forced to bring them together, or he will cease to exist. So there's a resolution to that problem. So that's the ABT formula. So if you think about creating your content, so whether this is social media posts or whether it is even creating some blog posts with that formula, then this one here draws people in, and it is a storytelling framework. And for those that didn't know what that movie was, it is in fact Back to the Future. Michael J. Fox and who was the other guy, the old mad professor? Oh, there we go. Roz had it. Back to the Future. All right, next thing, number 7, you have to have a content strategy. So it's not really good enough these days to think about, I should put some content out. I'd like to get some content out, or having a New Year's resolution that you are going to do content this year. It is a must. Now, hopefully you've seen at the beginning of the session how easy it is to create content. So, but having a content strategy is really important, and content isn't just writing blog posts, and it isn't just text. So content is a multifaceted, multimedia thing. So that's why I said at the beginning, start with video, because video encompasses all of those things. It's video, audio, transcription, creates a text, using ChatGPT, all those tools there to really edit it and craft it into text. In fact, you could probably ask, say, ChatGPT to use the ABT formula to then turn your piece that you've recorded into a story or a blog post. And in fact, if you're recording with that in mind as well too, that might be helpful too. But certainly using ChatGPT would help you do that. All right, so
Nick, can I ask a question?
Yes, Michelle. Yep.
Yeah. You're talking about a content strategy. So does that mean that you look at your year and think about the goals that you want to achieve over the year? Or is it just, let's say maybe to build up clients or your clients or whatever? So, then break it down into bite-sized chunks that leads you to, by the end of the year, having grown your clientele so much.
It is exactly that. Yep. So think about why are you creating content? Usually you're creating content because you're trying to attract new clients to your business, or leads or clients to your business. That's why you're doing it. So that's the purpose of it. It's not just to create content for the sake of it. It's got a purpose. So you want to generate more clients. So that's where you'd start from. So then you ask the question, well, what sort of content? Who do I deal with to start with? What sort of clients am I working with? You're obviously working with women that, was it over 60s women? Is that your market?
Over 50.
Over 50s. Yep.
50.
So
empty nesters. Yeah, both.
Okay. So empty nesters, over 50 women. So you've got a demographic of people that you work with. So then you're going to think, you already know some things about this market, don't you? Now what concerns them, what worries them, what they're looking for, that sort of thing. So you've already got that, haven't you?
Yeah.
Yep. And so then you're thinking about, well, what are the sorts of things that you can answer for them or help them with in your content strategy, which will then get them sort of thinking, that's just like me, and get them to ask for more. So it means you're not selling, you're getting them to ask for more. So the reason why you start to tell stories, particularly around people that you're already working with who've had results, that you're telling those stories because there are going to be other people that identify and say, hey, that's the situation that I'm in right now. Look at what's happened to them. I wonder if that can happen for me. So your content strategy is all about getting them to think about possibilities. And if you get people thinking about possibilities for themselves, or how things can be different for them in a way that they would like, then they're going to be contacting you to find out more about what you're doing, rather than you having to chase them and try and persuade them that what you're doing is going to be helpful for them. So it makes it a lot easier for you.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you.
And so the content strategy, so that's what's in your content strategy. But the important thing about a content strategy is not just producing content, but having a plan that you're consistent with as well. So as I say, start with video, repurpose it into various forms of content, and you want to take over SEO. So what I mean by that is, when people are searching for you or searching for what you do, you keep on appearing in the search results. And so you're appearing in it on video, in text, in images. It's a multimedia way. And the way you do that is having that content strategy. And again, it happens when you start with video, and then sort of get all of your content drilling down off that video. So, getting images, text, and all that sort of thing there. Because what will happen there is, if you upload those videos to YouTube and to social media, then those are the easiest things to get into, Google search. And then you've got text-based content to also there in various different places. It means maybe you run podcast, or you create into a podcast, they get up into search as well too. Maybe you get interviewed on other people's podcasts. That's a content strategy. So if you can find other people to, and my one of mine is I want to get onto one podcast a month where I'm the guest. So it's a content strategy. How's that a content strategy? I'm talking to someone else's audience. They've got their audience, so I don't have them at all, but they're putting me in front of them, and I'm talking about the things that are of interest to them. And so there a couple of things happens with that. The podcaster advertises the podcast, that ends up, or markets it, so that ends up in search against my name, because they often put my name in to market it. So whenever people search for my name, their podcast comes up. So it's another form of third-party. It's a proof as well too. So if I'm on someone else's podcast, well, I must be good, because I wouldn't be there if I wasn't any good, right? So that's how people think. So you want to ensure that your content starts to really take over the search engines for those particular things you want to be found for. And so consistency beats intensity. I'm going to use a gym analogy, because that's I go to the gym at 4:20 in the morning every morning. If I didn't feel like going, yes, I know it's madness. If I didn't feel like going and I just went to, say, this week, but didn't go for the rest of the month because I just couldn't be bothered getting out of bed, then I'd really get very little in terms of, gains in terms of fitness. But if I go every morning, even if I don't feel like it, and I have a pretty poor session there, so I don't put everything into it, that is better than having just a week of going to it. So if you produce bad content or poor content, but you do it consistently, that's much better than waiting for perfect content and just doing it for a week. So it's not what's in the content that's important. It's that you've got the content out there. People see you, you become recognizable, and that you're consistent there. And people, when they've got the need that you're able to fulfill, then they're looking for you. And the funny thing happens too is that when you are consistent, and if you are putting out what you consider to be poor pieces, other people mightn't, you do get better. So, with practice, you get better as well too. So it's just like at the gym, if you keep on doing the reps and you keep on sort of pushing through, you get better and better, and you can do you can do more. So it really is the same with your content. So have a strategy. My strategy is I've got a Facebook Live that goes up once a week. I've got a podcast that I do with someone once a month. This show here is part of my content strategy. So I show up here once a week because this creates a bucket load of content for me. So we cut the cool online tools up. They go across social media. We transcribe it all. We turn it into articles. There are all sorts of things that we do with it. I can't tell you it all because I don't do it. I've got a couple of people on my team, and they're responsible for that. They run the process, and it's just like a well-oiled machine. All right, number 8, CRM. Must have a CRM. What is a CRM? It is a customer relationship management tool. That's where you store your email addresses, and that's where you send out your email communication from, and you can do it in bulk. So there's a whole strategy around that. I won't go through it all, but you must have a CRM. That is the lifeblood of your business. In fact, I think that's more important than a website. Website would be number 2 behind a CRM. Having an email strategy, again, that's like your content strategy. So I don't do this now, but I did do this at the very beginning. I sent out a newsletter once a week that I never wrote. So it took us 20 minutes to create it, and we pulled it together from articles around the web that we thought would be interesting to our clients. And so that's what created our newsletter. So you don't actually have to write this. You can be the source of information as well. But so that's a strategy. So having a strategy where you're communicating regularly by email to your clients and customers. Google My Business, we've spoken about that. That is the home of Google reviews. So you must have a Google My Business profile. Why? Google owns it. And that's where Google Maps are. It's the easiest way to get yourself up onto page 1 of the search engines when people are searching for you. If you've got a Google My Business review, or Google My Business account, it is on Google Maps. And that always shows on page 1 of Google. But also the reviews are housed there as well too. A traffic strategy. What is traffic? Traffic is a way of getting people to your website. How do you drive people to your website? There is a whole myriad of ways to do it. Traditionally, people think of Facebook ads or Google ads as a way of driving traffic. Social media, sort of organic posting on social media. Simple things like setting up your social media profiles so they have a link to your website in it. That's a simple way of getting traffic to your website. Because as people check you out on social media, what do they want to do? Where else here? Where's the website? So they click through. So that's another traffic strategy. Podcast, being on other people's podcasts, that's a traffic strategy as well. Because what do you do on the podcast? People ask, how do you get in touch with you? Go to smashgo.co. So that's a traffic strategy. Having a business card is a traffic strategy. So having your website on your business card. So, if you're at networking meetings or get out your card, then, it's another traffic. So there's a ton of traffic strategies. So you need to think of where are you going to focus your efforts in terms of getting traffic to your website. So some of them are fairly organic and will just happen naturally, but there'll be maybe 1, 2, or 3 there that you want to focus your efforts on. And we'll do another session here on driving traffic as well. That's a session in its own right. And be unique. So, and that's unique spelt with a U. So that's what I talked about earlier, about what is it about you that attracts people to you and do business with you as opposed to your competitors, particularly when you're in a very competitive environment where lots of other people are doing the same sorts of things that you're doing. So be unique. How do you inject the you into that? All right, well, that's the end of the 12 tools. A lot of them weren't high tech, were they? So some of them are sort of reasonably low tech, but all you're doing is some of those tech tools that I show, they are to help you to do some of these lower tech things, help you do it sort of quicker, faster, easier. But these are the fundamentals there. If you get these 12 things right, then your business will be absolutely flourishing. So most people don't get past 2 of these things. So if you're able to set a plan, there are 12 of them there. Why are there 12? There are 12 months in a year. So if you commit yourself to doing 1 of these a month, then and then so get it rolling on fairly consistently, after 12 months, you'll have 12 things in place that are really going to help to grow your business. So if you want to find out a wee bit more, if you want to do some further learning about it, you can go to my.smashgo.co. There are a ton of resources in there for you to go to have a look at. If you're wanting help with any of it as well, contact me. There are a range of things that I can help you with in this area here, and more than happy to talk to you about that. But the most important thing that you can do after today's session is to pick one thing and to get started with it. So what's your one thing? Just pop into chat. What is the one thing that you'll get started with this week? When I mean this week, I mean either tonight or tomorrow, to get you started with it. So just pop in chat. What is your one thing? All right, so we've got a CRM, email strategy, Google My Business. So 3 things, excellent. New website, yep, content for website and reviews. Just drop your one thing in that you will focus on this week. Collate all my business cards, create an email list. Oh, you know what I've done with business cards? If you're worried about sort of the time it's going to take to enter them into your email list or a CRM, I've done this at expos. When I've gone to had an exhibition stand at expos, I photograph or scan all the business cards on my phone with a scanner, and then I sent it through to someone on Fiverr. They then did all the work of typing it all out into a spreadsheet for me. When I got it back, it came back as a CSV file, which I could then just import into my CRM. You know how long it took for, what do we have? I think it's about 1,000 names. It took a day to turn that round. So it meant I sent it to them on the day after the expo. That was the time that we had to photograph or scan it all. Got it back in a day, meant that we could then go and email all of those people after these shows. So very current and topical. So if you worry about the time it takes, that's the way to do your business cards. And what it cost me, it was probably about $10, I think. So it's on Fiverr, so $10, so it wasn't expensive. Okay, so what else have we got? We've got content for website, email strategy, reviews, Google My Business at the top of the list. We have flyers instead. Business cards, great. Yep, same thing with flyers as well. Flyers are good. They're harder to throw out than business cards. Excellent. Perfect. All right, well, that's our session for tonight. Hopefully you got some value out of that. If you do have any questions about it all, feel free to come back to me, and I'm happy to help with that. And if you do want some help with any of these sort of things, then we've got a number of programs that can help with that as well too, to ensure that you are up and running with it all. If you enjoyed tonight as well, it will be up on our YouTube channel tomorrow. So if you are not a subscriber to the SmashGo YouTube channel, I will drop the link into chat here now. If you go there, hit subscribe, and then when you do hit subscribe, hit the bell after the subscribe. You'll get a notification when it comes up. And of course, if you think someone else might be interested in it as well, feel free to share the YouTube link with them as well too. And now's a good time to save the chat as well too, because it's got all those links. And if you save it, it's got all the links in, everything you need, so you can just click on it and check out the apps and tools. To save it, find the 3 little dots on the top right-hand side of chat, and you have an option to save it. And then when you do save it, just make sure you click on the link. It'll give you the link as to where it saved it from, take you straight to the location, so you don't have to wonder where it is and go and find it. Fabulous. All right, well, that's our session for tonight. Thank you very much, everyone, for being here tonight. I hope it's added some value to what you're doing in that online space as well too. Look forward to seeing you back again next week. Catch you then.
Fantastic, Nick. Thank you so much. You've really helped a great deal.
Fabulous. Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you. Good night, everybody.